Hello, everyone. Alberto, Han, Kunobadon, Zita, Sundra.
Good morning, John.
Good
Everyone.
morning.
Swadika.
Yeah, good morning, John.
Good
Good morning.
As I've just put a note on the list, on the chat, Sarah is seeing the doctor at the moment, but she'll be joining the discussion as soon as she gets back from that. So let's see if Ajahn is there. Ajahn, are you there now? Are you here?
Yes.
Swadika.
Swadika,
Ajahn.
Ajahn ka.
I don't see Anne at the moment. She may be joining later, perhaps. So let's see if anyone has anything to bring up or comment on. Anyone?
John,
Yes,
last week
Asita.
I raised a question about the jhana.
Yes, Hang.
Yes.
Well, do you want to raise it again?
Yes, I'd like to hear from the Thanachan about the jhana because she may give a detailed explanation about the jhana.
What is it exactly you want to hear about jhana? What is your interest in jhana?
Actually, it's also mentioned in the Vipassana. Yes, it's the Lasana, Lakkhana, Rupa. I'm not sure about the Pali word, but it's also mentioned about the Vipassana.
Are you talking about the jhana at moment of path consciousness?
Yes.
Yes. You'd like to know more about jhana at moment of path consciousness.
And the meaning of the jhana also.
Oh, and the meaning of jhana. Yes. Yes, Sundra, you want to say something?
Yeah, thanks, John. Hang, yeah, I think Sarah mentioned it too last week, or brought it up. The difference between Lakkhana and Aramanupaniddhana. Perhaps I think that was the differentiation, and that Sarah alluded to, and that perhaps it could be elaborated on.
Hang, are you interested in those terms in particular? Those two kinds of jhanas? Is that your question in effect?
Yes.
And so just briefly, the first one mentioned, the Lakkhana is jhana with the characteristic as object. And the second one, the name just escapes me, but is the mundane jhana that we read about usually in the suttas. When it talks about developing jhana, it is usually a reference to jhana with concept as object. But at moment of path consciousness, which has a reality as its object, the concentration at that moment is said to be of the intensity of jhana. And so it is jhana with characteristic of reality as object. That's just a brief summary, but I think I'll let Ajahn speak in more detail on this. Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you, John.
First of all, we have to understand the meaning of each different word. For example, jhana. What is jhana?
I'm not sure, Ajahn.
It's the reality which burned the other, the opposite. reality. For example, akusla and kusla. See, and we talk about Chitasika with ajana to what ajana to that degree. That's why it's not just the word to be learned about its meaning, just the way it's translated, but it's understanding the characteristic of a reality, each one at different moments. That's why when we talk about those who see the danger of sensuous object, the attachment to sensuous object, at that moment, there are conditions to try not to have a kusya clinging to the sensuous object. That's why it develops the aramana of jhana, which can be the object, which can let go the attachment to clinging temporarily because it is not the right understanding, which knows how to eradicate the unwholesome roots and so on. That's why it is aramana, panichana, because it leads to the more serene and more calm of that moment, not thinking about the sensuous object anymore. That's why it is not the Lakhanupanishana, because Lakhanupanishana is that rises with right understanding to understand the characteristic of what is there, Upipatthana, to understand the truth that actually it's not as it is at all. No, no understanding to attachment to that idea. So that is, and that is the difference between Arambanopanishana and Lakhanupanishana. Just want to be calm, not having such akusla, but depending on understanding, how much understanding is there to just prevent moment of akusla attached to the sensuous object so that it can develop by way of understanding the nature of the object as it can condition calmness, but no understanding of the truth, no lakkhana of any reality to be known as it is. But vipassana bhavana, or the development of understanding right now, on and on, to the degree that it can realize the true nature of a reality, is calm at that moment. It is lakhanupanishana, arising with each moment of understanding the truth. That meant in Tipitaka. Was there any more question about that?
So, Thanachan, thank you for your explanation. The meaning of the burning the opposite, so it means that at the moment of Makachita, it's also burning all the kilesa. It's my understanding. Is it correct?
At the moment of kusla, akusla cannot arise. So it depends on how much understanding which can calm down the thinking about the sensuous object being attached by understanding the object that it can condition calmness, like the dead body and so on. At moment of seeing a dead body, is it calm? Not at all, without right understanding. That's why looking or thinking about the dead body doesn't help. If one tries so hard to be calm, it's impossible. But right understanding at the degree that it can see the danger of the kusala moment and akusala moment all day in a day, just be attached to that which is seen, heard, and so on. Those who see the danger that it has to be more and more ignorance and attachment to whatever object is there without kusala citta. So the Aramanupanishana from the first moment, developing right understanding and understand kusala citta, is calm away from the sensuous object up to different degrees of jhana, rupa jhana and arupa jhana. No understanding of the nature of that which is there, Lakkhanupanishana at all. And why are you interested in jhana?
Because it's normally we think that it's a samatha bhavana, not for the vipassana bhavana. So I just a curiosity about this term as used for vipassana bhavana also. So I like to know more. I understand more about the burning is the function of burning the opposite reality. For example, as the moment of pula chitta, without any understanding, so it cannot say that it's burning akusala. Is it right?
At moment of chitta, does it burn anything?
The akusala cannot arise. So
it has to be panya of a degree that it can see the danger of piling on, having more and more added akusala in a day, attached to whatever is there. So what comes? More and more, deeper and deeper attachment to what is there in a day. See, instead of having attachment, there can be detachment, considering the truth of the body, the dead body. So everyone has to be like that. And why does one cling too much of that which is not yet the dead body, but the body? Because the truth is that each part is so not should be the object of clinging. Would you like to develop that kind of panya, seeing the dead body as it's not object of clinging, and what is seen is just there?
I think without right understanding, it cannot be developed.
That's why the most important thing is understanding what is there in all aspects, the let go.
I think also, Hung, that there's another meaning of jhana, and that is to contemplate. So jhana closely contemplates whatever the object is. It also has the other meaning of burning up. And obviously, in the case of jhana citta, of the mundane kind, it burns up the unwholesome jittas in the sense that it suppresses them. That's all. It doesn't mean it gets rid of them or eliminates them totally, because the accumulated tendency remains. But it suppresses the unwholesome, the nivaranas. So that's one kind of jhana. And the other kind of jhana, as Ajahn has explained, as I understand it, it just occurs at the moment of path consciousness. At that moment, the concentration, ekagata, that arises together with the maggajitta is regarded as being of a kind of jhana. And it is the kind of jhana that contemplates the characteristic of the reality. It doesn't burn up the characteristic of the reality, obviously. So I think you're rather concerned with this meaning of burning up of jhana, but it doesn't have to dominate the discussion, because what needs to be understood is that jhana citta is one plane of consciousness that is different from the consciousness that we know from day to day. And of course, at moment of path consciousness, that is altogether a supramundane moment of consciousness. And the concentration that accompanies that moment is considered to be a kind of jhana, because it is so intense. That's all. So when we read or talk about developing jhana, normally the reference is to actually developing samatha to the point where the factor of concentration becomes more prominent. And then when the concentration reaches a certain stage of development, it can be a condition for the arising of jhana citta. That's the Aramanupanijjhana, okay? And the Lakkhana Upanijjhana, which is the citta, the consciousness that accompanies the moment of path consciousness. There's no sort of development of that kind of jhana. It just happens at the moment of path consciousness by virtue of, as Ajahn explained, the understanding that has been developed. And as we know, when the understanding of conditioned realities is being developed, the other mental factors that accompany the insight, the moments of insight, also develop. That is to say, the energy, the effort, the concentration, the awareness, the vitaka, and so on. All those other mental factors develop as the understanding of conditioned realities develops. And it's the same with the concentration.
Thank you, John. It's clearer now. Thank you.
So are we interested in developing jhana?
No, just curiosity about the word. And don't know much about the meaning of
I think there's another word that comes up from time to time, used by the Buddha, something like jayati, which means to develop jhana. And there the commentaries explain that there are two kinds of jhana to be developed. The mundane one, and the Aramanupanijjhana and the Lakkhana Upanijjhana. Okay, if Han or does anyone else have any more to say on this topic of jhana? It's hello, Anne. We're talking about jhana and the two main kinds of jhana.
Thank you.
Mhm. Right. Azita, I think you indicated before you had something to bring up. Please go ahead.
I noticed in a lot of the discussion, good morning, everybody, by the way. Yes, in a lot of the discussions, Achan rarely uses the word jitta to indicate is there seeing now or is there hearing now. And I'm wondering, Achan, why you rarely use the word jitta.
We talk about Chitta. Is this moment? Yeah, is this moment Chitta?
Yes, it is.
Who knows the nature of Chitta now?
Well, I must say I don't. I know there is seeing, I know there is hearing, but I don't know jitta.
So the Chitta is I, right?
Yes, I guess so, yes.
And how to understand that actually there's no I at all. What are there? Are only different realities, no matter it is feeling or memory or whatever is there. No understanding of the nature, not just the word and definition, but the reality which does not appear as sight or sound or anything at all, because it is that which experience what is there from birth, each moment, life to life, years and years ago. And we just talk about it as it's known already. But we talk about the word, but what about now? The object appears, but not the citta which experiences that object appear. Can they appear together? Can they appear together?
No.
That's why what is there in the day is the object with citta experiences, and we just attend to what is there as something all the time, not knowing at all that each moment is that which experiences that object to appear to be known in life, no matter what. That's why it's so subtle before we can understand it. Actually, if anything now does not appear as it is, how can it be let go of something there all the time? And the teaching is all about anatta. See, it's just a word. But now I see, I remember, I think. And we just learn that no one there at all. It's only the reality which arises and experiences the object as the chief, because its function is just experience the object clearly as the characteristic of that object is, but it cannot understand the truth. That's why we learn to understand what are there in the day as no one, no thing at all. Only the reality, conditions arising and falling away all the time, from moment to moment, from life to life, years and years on and on and on, non-stop. As long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it arises just right now. But no one knows the moment it arises and falls away, because it's so very rapidly from moment to moment in split seconds or split of split seconds. And is this true? Just close one's eye. How can nothing which appears gone? And as soon as one opens one's eye, it's there, everything. And how come to be just everything? Suddenly, in just a moment. How fast each moment arises and falls away, unknown. And what is there is the chief that arises and experience of only that. So we learn a little more about different realities, what are there together and so on, just to let go the very deep idea which cling to that whatever is there as I or something or someone from life to life. But what is there at moment of birth? So what is there at moment of death? And before death, what is there now? Seeing, hearing, gone all the time, never to return. Before there can be the experiencing directly of that which just arises and experience. It's not that which is now appears as the object of that which experiences it. That's why there must be Citta-nupassana Satipatthana and Dhamma-nupassana Satipatthana, Vedana-nupassana Satipatthana, Kaya-nupassana Satipatthana, all about life, the whole life now. So how much understanding of what we are talking about, just one moment, one reality at a time, can be known. So if we don't talk again and again and again about Citta, that which is the chief of experiencing what is there, but it does not appear yet. And how can it appear without attention, attending to the characteristic of it at moment when it's there, any moment. That's why there must be Citta-nupassana Satipatthana to realize the nature of that, which is not shape, form, sound, smell at all. Imagine when it appears, nothing can be there at all. At all. Only the characteristic of Citta appears to be known to Panya, right understanding of that degree. Beginning from now, the first round of the Four Noble Truths. That's right, we don't talk about the word covers up everything, but we just talk about a reality. For example, jhana, see, it covers many things. Vitakka, vichara, and so on. About what? With what? Right understanding at level of seeing the danger of how in a day, ignorance more and more, each moment with attachment. So now it's just like that which is conditioned to arise against the storm of ignorance and attachment through seeing right now. How many moments?
Sorry, Ajahn, can you ask that again? I was distracted by a bird outside.
Pardon?
Can you ask that question again, please?
About?
I thought you just asked me a question.
About?
I think it was a rhetorical question, so
Okay.
just go on with the discussion. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was a noisy bird just at that moment. Okay, Ajahn. I think I understand now. You've pointed out quite clearly, I think, by dropping the word citta and indicating what is really there, because I can see, and you also just mentioned about jhana, and I can see we latch on, or most of us latch on to that word and not what is really, really behind that word. What is the reality of that word? So, yes, I very much appreciate the way you do that, Achan. It really helps with getting a little bit more understanding of what is here and now.
So just one reality. It's not just one word, 2 words about it. Many words to condition understanding a little more. Getting closer and closer to the reality which is so close. Even right now, who think about that which is so close? None at all. Right?
Right.
Because about that which is seen is far away from that which is so close. And even the citta, the reality which experience that is so close. So it has to be the reality which is there all day, in the day, is not being aware of the truth of it at all. That's why the teachings of the Buddha, Opanayiko, getting closer and closer to understand that which is there as it is. So now, is it close enough?
Oh, well, it can't get any closer.
That's
But
why.
it is very, it's the closest thing. It can't get closer because it is close. But of course, there's not a lot of understanding of it. There's not the real, because all day long, it's
Because
me.
usually when we think of anything, it's far away from that which is there. Experience. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, how can there be the understanding of what's meant by opanayiko, ehipasiko, pachatang?
And what do they mean? I've heard them, but I've forgotten what they mean, Achan.
Swakato, Bhagavata Dhammo, the teachings of the Buddha about what? Swakato, Bhagavata Dhammo, Santitiko, that which can understand or understood. Because it's there now, but it's so close. But what is there is not as close as is there, just very close. Nothing is closer than that at all.
These are the terms, Azita, that are given as epithets for the Dhamma. Sanditiko, Akaliko, Ehipasiko, Opanayiko. They each mean something. I'm not sure if I can remember it all, but I know Akaliko means
I've
without
heard
time.
it, but
Ehipasiko means inviting further examination. And one of them means to be discovered by the wise, each person for themselves, and so on and so forth.
right. Okay. Thank you, John. So, Achan, that thing that is so close, it's still, because there's still this strong sense of I, me, it seems like all day long, that's what that reality that is so close, is here and now, is mistakenly taken for me, myself, and I.
So, Swakato, Bhagavata Dhammo, the teachings of the Buddha, is about the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
So very subtle. See?
Very, 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 very subtle.
And this has to be the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, the first round of all four. Otherwise, there cannot be any condition, to directly understand the truth, which is so close.
Right. Yes. Yes, and I think if we don't hear these words again and again, we'll never know. There'll never be the understanding. There'll never even be the first round of the Four Noble Truths. Even that is very subtle.
Because it's not just a definition of the term, but it's the characteristic of the reality which can be learned little by little, hearing, considering carefully to understand the ultimate truth of what is there as reality. It's real. It's that can be known only when it's there, right?
Right. Yes, Ajahn.
That's why what is there in life any moment is there which can be learned, that it's not anything at all. It's just what it is, little by little. No place to go to find, to look for it, because it's so close now.
And that's a really good example of not needing to go anywhere. Wherever we are, there's the reality. That's all there is.
And that is the fourth noble truth.
Right.
See, not at the moment at all. The fourth noble truth, samadhi, right understanding, begin from hearing, considering, understanding the nature, so clear of just one reality, how it come to be Makkha, how it come to be jhana, and how it come to be different stages of understanding. So this is letting go, understanding, not thinking of how to, and what is that, and what is this, and what about that, which is so close right now, arising and falling away all the time, unknown. Only thinking about the term and the meaning, the definition of the word. But what about a reality which is there appearing only can be known? So now what can be known? That which is seen and that which sees. And without thinking, talking, discussing about it, how can there be the further understanding, even intellectually, about it's not there all the time? Because when there is hearing, there's no seeing. Imagine the ultimate truth. Nothing, only seeing, and that which is seen. And then after that, hearing and sound, nothing. Only one reality at a time, appearing, experiencing it with no word, but there can be thinking by condition, see. So right understanding has to develop on and on and on until it let go. What is taken for I doubt, I want to be just a reality. As we learned, but it's there, appearing to be known, only by different level of understanding. Because now even hardness appears depending on different level of understanding. No understanding at all, no thought about it at all. So how can it appear as only one? Nothing else. And it means it appears well because it appears just as it is only one.
But when you say appears, I guess it appears very rapidly here and then gone. So this is why the understanding has to be quite developed to understand that this is a reality, now it's gone.
And what, yes,
So
and,
Achan,
and what did Buddha say about it? All appears as nimitta only. Begin to understand where are we, the wrong understanding, living in the world of seeing many things around, hearing, sorry, and so on. But the truth, the absolute truth, the ultimate truth is there must be one moment of experiencing one object only. Imagine what is meant by enlightenment, or even just the intellectual understanding of the first round of the Four Noble Truths. Without right understanding from the very beginning, how can there be a little more moment of understanding that which appears by conditions much more subtle, much more difficult, by conditions each moment? So is this true? It is.
yes, yes,
It is
Master.
such a barami, see, develop on, firmer and firmer. So it condition moment of in being aware by conditions. See how much patience and virya. And this is letting go. The fourth round, the fourth noble truth of the first round. How deep, how subtle, that it has to be where we only by understanding, little by little, unexpectedly, because a moment of understanding is the path, the fourth noble truth, no other thing at all, no other moment. Without the path, understanding and letting go, how can there be moment of realizing the truth right now as Buddha has enlightened? So the more understanding how subtle it is, and that is the only way. Let go. Attachment, wish, or hope to experience it anytime, at any level of understanding.
I really think we have to hear these words again and again, reminders again and again of just how subtle, but of the reality which appears now.
And that is the only way. See, without understanding the truth, the subtle moment right now, how can there be letting go? I want, I dream, I hope, I wish. See, all wrong by the idea of self. So just understanding only. And how can be the understanding without hearing? Impossible. And even when listen to the truth, what about carefully considering at that very moment when it's there? Stage by stage, develop on and on, unknowingly. Otherwise, expecting it's there from time to time. And it has to be known that it's just a reality. So what is there in the day has to be learned little by little. Not just hope to develop it by going somewhere or concentrating on something. Impossible. So the middle path not go wrong by misunderstanding or attachment, because it has to be the straight way, the middle way, directly to understanding what is there right now.
And it does take a huge amount of patience. I mean, I was sitting this morning thinking about what I've learned and I wish I had more panya. And that's wrong, but it's a reality. It's sloper wanting something.
But it's Panya which understand that, not you.
Yes. That's encouraging. Thank you, Ajahn.
Without parami, conditioned by right understanding, it's impossible to let go at all.
Yes.
And this is the first round of understanding the Four Noble Truths about the fourth Noble Truth, which will lead to the first Noble Truth, realization.
Right. The fourth noble truth will point out that everything is unsatisfactory.
But it's not now yet.
Yes.
Only thinking.
It's only thinking. Yes, of course, it's only thinking. But
And imagine when it's not just thinking, it's there appearing as such, the truth of it. Otherwise, how can the I will be let go?
after a very long time.
And that is Khanti Parami and Viriya Parami. No one.
No one could remind us. That's wonderful, Ajahn. Thank you so much.
Because even the word Khanti is a reality. Learn a little more about it. See, Viriya, see, Satya, and so on. They're all Dhammas, not just the word.
Mm. Yes, I think it came up yesterday in the Chinese English discussion about there's a lot involved in the present moment. It isn't just seeing an object, but there's the jeta seekers in the feeling and the other things that go along, the conditions involved getting to this point of seeing a visible object, because there have to be the right conditions for seeing to arise and the right conditions for eye sense to arise. So there's a lot going on in each present moment.
So we learn a little more to let go, the clinging to whatever is there unknown. For example, we talk about conditions. What is condition? See, not just it's conditioned. That's not enough. So we learn to understand conditions for each reality which has conditioned to arise.
Yes.
A little more to let go. The very sticky, deeply clung to what is there, on and on and on, from moment to moment. Little by little, so very little by little. And when it's not yet strong enough, it has to be developed straightly to the truth, little by little.
Little by little. Good reminder.
It's now, see, little by little. Without each moment of understanding, can it be little by little?
Not, no, it can't be without the understanding.
That's why we come together and discuss on the reality, little by little, developing understanding at moment of understanding is the path leading to understand or realize the truth of the First Noble Truth and other truths. That's why it's the only way, see? No other way at all. The path, the marker, the way to understand, to realize the nature of what is there right now, as it is.
And that is all there is, every single moment.
Mm-hmm.
We just are talking together. It's gone already.
Mm-hmm. It's true. No selection to understand any nimitta of one reality.
And I sometimes think, you know, if I'm irritable or impatient, sometimes there's a bit of regret. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, but it's gone already. That's a waste of time. No, I wouldn't say a waste of time. It's a good reminder that each moment comes and goes. And the more I hear, I think probably there's less impatience with present moments, with what's happening in the present moment. Less impatience.
No matter what is there, no matter what is there, no self, no I, no one, different realities to be known.
Yes, even the unpleasant moments can be known, because there's more clinging to pleasant moments, because unpleasant is just that, unpleasant.
And the proof is right now.
Yes.
How much understanding, what level.
Yeah. Right now, right here, right now.
Gradually develop unknowingly.
Right. Unknowingly. And when you say unknowingly, that's when there is a bit more intellectual understanding, that understanding is the thing that develops unknowingly.
And
because,
yes.
Oh, well, we can't keep track of it, because it's it just develops unknowingly. And yes, I do understand that aspect of it, but they're still clinging. But
That is Panya, which has to understand that very moment. Otherwise, it's not right understanding of that which is not self at all.
Right. Yes. Yes, I can.
So life goes on, not I, not anyone. Conditions, reality.
Yes. And it goes on and on and on. Right. Thank you, Achan. That's wonderful. Thank you.
I appreciate the understanding very much.
And I appreciate your help, Achan. It's very beneficial.
The best moment in lifetime.
The best moment in life is understanding.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe I should give somebody else an opportunity. Okay.
Thanks, Asita. In last week's discussion, which I wasn't able to be at, but I've listened to, a number of things, come to mind. And I guess it's one way to put it would be the relationship between attachment and letting go, because while there is attachment, I guess of any time, of any level, there's not the letting go. And the less attachment there is, the more it leads to more letting go. But and somewhere in that discussion, we're talking about wise attention as well, attending wisely to what is there. So it's such a subtle path that leads to letting go. And I guess what I'm asking is if you can talk about that again, please.
About understanding, let's go. Not anyone.
Yes. Yes. There's no one, that's right. But and there's no one that attends to either. It's conditioned.
That's why we learn about different realities, which is conditioned to arise to be only that particular one reality at a time. A little more letting go.
And if I could just butt in for a moment.
Can't hear you now, Jonathan.
Sorry. The letting go reference can sometimes be problematic because it gives the image of some kind of decision
Right.
to let go of something.
Right.
Whereas, as Ajahn is just explaining, it's just a function of panya
Yes.
itself. There's not panya and then there's letting go.
No,
and there
I
can't be
understand
letting go
that.
without panya. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's like saying also a sense of urgency, for example, which is another way of explaining or another aspect of panya. So rather than focusing too much on letting go, which we think of as being the opposite of attachment, right? We think if there wasn't so much attachment, there'd be more letting go, or vice versa. But really, it just comes back to understanding.
Yes.
And the letting go as a function of that understanding, because there can't be any letting go apart from the moments of understanding.
Yes. Yes. I can see how one could decide it was me letting go. But it's a function. Yes, it comes along with panya. No, not sufficient panya. Then
and so it's different, I guess, from detachment also, which is a alopa cetasika,
right.
The opposite of loba, right?
Yes.
The opposite of loba is aloba.
Right.
That's without attachment.
Right.
So that's detachment.
So it's panya that lets go.
Well, there can be aloba without panya.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
Every moment of kusala, there is aloba. There is
yes.
lack of absence of attachment. But letting go is something else. It's an aspect of the understanding of the characteristic of realities. It's when the object is a conditioned reality that Panya is able to let go of that, it develops the aspect of letting go. The more it sees the true nature of conditioned realities, the more it is inclined to let go of the wish for further rebirth. Yeah.
Yes. And the attending wisely to what is arising or what is there is does not arise with ignorance. Is that correct?
Right.
It arises
Correct.
at moments, at a moment of understanding, and is an aspect of the development of understanding, I guess.
So usually when we talk about attending wisely, sometimes that's a translation of yoniso manasikara,
Yes.
the mental
Yes.
factor of manasikara. And in other contexts, it may refer to awareness and understanding of a conditioned reality. So it depends a bit on the context, I would say.
And the first context, you said the other context, the first context then would be?
Well, the first context would be any kusala citta. The manasikara that accompanies any kusala citta is yoniso manasikara, wise attention. So there can be wise attention in that sense without there being understanding.
You say that again, please?
Yeah, there can be wise attention in the sense of the manasikara, mental factor that accompanies any moment of kusala, is referred to as yoniso manasikara, yoniso meaning wise. So the word wise here does not necessarily imply understanding. It just means the wholesome kind of manasikara.
Right. Okay, that helps. Thank you. Yeah, because ayoniso manasikara is the unwise, is it not?
Right, right.
Right.
So,
and that's just a name. I get it.
That's just a name. That's the manasikara that arises with an agusala citta.
Right. Frequently.
Yes, most of the time.
Yes.
Because manasikara is one of those universal mental factors that arises with every citta.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that puts it a bit more.
Can I ask you a question, Anne? Were you thinking that wise attention meant panya? Meant the wisdom that we talk about, that is panya? That's what I've just picked up.
I didn't think it was the same, but definitely associated.
Okay, right. Yeah, I think that's been really beautifully cleared up. Thank you, John. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And for your question.
Thanks, Can't hear you, sir. Oh.
Just to add a note, in most contexts, when we read about yoniso manasikara, as Jonathan said, it can be any kusala manasikara, but in most contexts, it is in the light of understanding realities. And it's the same when we discuss or refer to wise attention. Here, usually it's in the context of understanding. But in fact, it is the kusala manasikara.
Right. Thanks, Sarah.
And I had one comment I was going to add to Zita's comment about being irritated with oneself or what one's said or done or so on, and how it's so helpful to understand they're just dhammas rising and falling away. And it also helps to appreciate it's the same with others. like the others that one may be irritated with, but no one there to be irritated with. They're just passing dharmas that one is disturbed by. So appreciating that there are only different dhammas. So what one's so irritated about oneself or the others is just one's fantasy, just the ayoniso manasikara and the akusala sanya and ditthi, building up the story about me or that person and so on.
Yes, I think about, you know, when there is irritation with what somebody else is doing or even how somebody looks, I sometimes remind myself, if there's the conditions, that it's just my attachment to being a certain way that I'm irritated because of that person. You know, I sometimes, if I'm clever enough, I can put myself in their position, and they're just doing what they're doing. You know, maybe they're just dressing like that or behaving like that because by conditions. So it's a good reminder to realize that, you know, there's nobody. There are just these dhammas doing their thing.
Different sets of accumulations.
Yes.
Each in their own way, each going the way they had to go.
Yeah. Yes.
Can't be any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you.
Azita, you just mentioned something about sometimes when there's irritation, when you're feeling irritated by something that you don't like you mentioned someone dressed the way someone dresses. I'm thinking there's probably conceit involved in that as well.
You're probably quite right, Anne. Yes, it's. I wouldn't dress like that, or I wouldn't behave like that. Yes, yeah,
Right.
it does. Yeah, conceit. Thank you. Good reminder.
For everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
Because those thoughts, they do come by with some frequency. Very subtle.
The tendency to judge.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, just concede.
Right. Yes.
Opposite of metta, no metta at those moments. It's actually all about me and my dana.
I think
no friendliness.
I hadn't heard the expression, the tendency to judge, but that I think that's a very understandable explanation of conceit, I think.
Yes, I agree. It is the tendency to judge.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Sarah.
Just before the end of the Vietnamese discussion yesterday, you put up your hand. You were trying to speak, but we ran out of time. Was this anything you were going to bring up?
No, Sarah, it's a technical issue.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah.
Alberto, have you got any questions? We don't want to waste this time.
Thank you, Zita. Maybe one question about the third noble truth in the first round of understanding realities. How can nibbana be understood by intellectual understanding, or even direct understanding, which is satipatthana? I don't know if Ajahn can talk more about the reality of nibbana and the third noble truth. It's just the only question that I came up with.
I think it's a good one. Maybe John, can you answer?
Well, I think Alberto particularly would like to hear from Ajahn on this, but I'll have a quick stab before passing over to Ajahn, if you don't mind, Alberto. Yeah, it is difficult because there is no real conception of what nibbana means. And I think a proper conception of nibbana can only become apparent as the understanding of samsara, conditioned realities, is developed, because nibbana is the antithesis of all that. So we know that nibbana is the unconditioned, but that only has meaning if one understands what conditioned means. And so the more there is understanding of the conditioned nature of realities and as being an inevitable, inextricable part of existence in samsara, that the concept of experiencing the unconditioned becomes meaningful. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't see the value in trying to have a conceptual understanding of nibbana, because it's bound to be have no real basis at all. One can read all the epithets for nibbana. There's about 90 of them or something, but they don't really take the matter any further. And I don't see the point in doing so, because it's not as though we actually aspire to nibbana, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Is that an aspiration you have, Alberto?
Yeah, I was thinking about the 3 rounds of the Four Noble Truths. So the first round is Satchanyana, and it's also includes the third noble truth, which is the cessation of dukkha, the end of dukkha. So there must be the understanding of intellectual understanding of the reality, or anyway some understanding of the characteristic of the reality, which is much more subtle than all the other conditional reality.
Just if I can, sorry, keep going.
what is it? There must be some understanding of it.
If I can just make a comment here. First of all, I appreciate your question, Alberto. I think it's a good one, as Sarah, as Zita said, and I appreciate also Jonathan's answer to it. And just recently, again, I was looking at the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and perhaps this is a question, as you initially alluded to. I'll be interested to hear what Tanajan says, because it does say in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta that and the Buddha said, until I had appreciated and understood the Four Noble Truths in these 12 aspects, I could not say that I was fully enlightened or something along those words. So he says that until I had understood all the each noble truth in 3 ways, and ultimately in 12 ways, until that point, I would not consider myself fully enlightened, but he understood them in all 12 ways. So the question then is what you're saying, Alberto, then what, with regards to the first round, is the understanding of the third noble truth? So in what way, Tanajan, can we say that that first round is to be understood in relationship to the third noble truth?
Do we have lost ignorance and they cling to the idea of self, even if so very little, after hearing the truth?
Yes, we certainly say that. We can certainly say that there's attachment. There's no question about that.
So the more understanding can be less and less ignorance and clinging.
True, Tanajan.
Until it cannot arise at all, because understanding is so great that it understands what the conditions for whatever arises. Is it possible? Because what is now conditioned, gone, and arise again, as long as they are conditioned, but not the same one. So when there is more and clear understanding of that which is now, beginning from it's not permanent, it's there by conditions, and so the more letting go, the arising and falling way by way of nimitta can be known. On and on and on, less and less ignorance and attachment to it as something until there's no more. Is it possible?
Yes, certainly, Tanajan.
So that is the moment of understanding. It cannot arise again because no condition for its arising ends up. No arising of that condition. Reality, the wrong understanding, taking that for something, never to arise again. Is there such a moment so clear that it can never arise again? Until then, see? So it's not just that we can show it or demonstrate it and so on, but it's the reality which is there. No conditions for whatever arise again. So it cannot arise. The moment of that which has no conditions for to arise is there, can be known, because it's so true. Less and less and less condition, until no more condition for such reality arise. Is it true that there can be and there is? Otherwise, why do we learn about this moment? And what is moment of ignorance and what is moment of understanding, until it becomes so clear that there is no more clinging with wrong understanding of self.
So you're saying there, in many ways, what we can say that John alluded to a moment ago, is that the more and better there is the understanding of each conditioned reality, that is contributing strongly towards a deeper appreciation of that first round of the Third Noble Truth.
That's why the understanding, different degrees are so very subtle. And the moment of realizing Nibbana, much more subtle than any moment. How great wisdom is there. So it's not just want to realize it because everyone knows that it cannot be realized at all, as long as understanding is not enough, developed stage by stage, clearer and clearer, until no one at all. At moment of vipassana, stage by stage, clearer and clearer.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first round of the Four Noble Truth. It's that which is not anything like citta or cetasika or rupa. And as everyone knows, no one can imagine even the first stage of vipassana jnana. So what about the highest, the end of that which has arisen by conditions, no more conditions, ignorance, and clinging to that as something, never arise again? So no matter how much we think about it, it's not there to be known yet. That's why understand what is there now. To understand that in truth, nothing is permanent at all. Because as long as there are conditions, it has to arise. Until no conditions, the condition for that to arise has been eradicated. And can there be the understanding even just a little bit? It's less wrong understanding and less ignorance of that which now appear, that it's so real, it's a reality, it's condition, it's not the same from moment to moment at all. Little by little it develops before it can realize the dukkha ariya satya and understand what conditions, whatever arises, and the condition for that which arises is not there anymore, little by little, stage by stage.
And I think, Atana John, what I'm considering at this moment is that the first noble truth, dukkha ariya satya, and the third noble truth, dukkha nirodha ariya satya, they're inextricably bound up in many ways. The more there is the understanding of the first noble truth, in the first round of the first noble truth, dukkha ariya satya, the better and closer we will be getting to dukkha nirodha ariya satya. That seems that in that way they are connected.
And we can just consider roughly whatever is there is not known as it is. And when it's known as it is, little by little, less clinging, less wrong, understanding that it's something permanent or it's someone or something. See, it begins now from hearing, considering, at level of intellectual understanding, on and on and on. And the reality appears. No one can imagine, even it's just the first vipassana jnana and on, to understand what is meant by dukkha ariya satya, see? And what about higher than that? No one can imagine at all. That's why only understanding the truth that it's just like that, stage by stage, and it's not known as it is at all, yet stage by stage. That's why only way to understand it, to realize the truth of it, is just understanding when it's there a little more.
Yeah, and the more understanding there is of that first noble truth, truly, then there will be more conditions ultimately to understand the third noble truth. Dukkha Nirodha.
So now, how about understanding what is there?
Which will enable us to eventually appreciate Dukkha Nirodha. Just thinking, Ajahn.
Pardon?
Just thinking at the moment, this moment.
Not known clearly yet. See?
Not yet, Ajahn.
Even it's there. So what about Nibbana?
Not yet, Ajahn.
Deeper than that.
Much more.
So just learn that there is a way to realize the truth stage by stage until doubt or wrong understanding of that is completely gone, never to arise again. The way is beginning to understand the truth of this moment, little by little. It's time now. สวัสดีค่ะ
Yes, thank you very much, Ajahn.